Good evening, YouTube. This is Kaylin Strain coming at you with my regular Sunday night dinner. And as promised last week, and I also posted on the community tab of my channel page. And for those that are members of a Ration group on Facebook, I posted there. This is Norwegian Arctic Field Ration. Vegetarian chili stew, and the foreign MRE sticker is on here because I got it from foreignmre.com, and I believe that this covers the menu number, so I will carefully peel this off, see if it does. Nope, doesn't. But this, as I said, this is the vegetarian chili stew. So I'm expecting it to be somewhat like the chili con carne that I reviewed last year, which actually had beef in it. Whereas this one is vegetarian, so it gets its protein from soy protein. So anyway, I've never done this, but others have. They demonstrate where you peel this label up and it reveals directions on how to use this to close up this bag after you open it. If you only eat part of this ration but you want to keep all the contents that remain together, you put this on there. And then this has other information on here, but I generally don't bother with that because obviously I eat the whole thing. But to actually open it, you go to the lower left corner. See where it's split there, and you peel it apart. But before I do that, I'll show you the date on here. So this is basically, it's coming up to its best by date, but because the entree is a freeze-dried food, it obviously would last a lot longer. I don't know what the drink flavor will be. Sometimes these can open easily, sometimes not. So what we have here on top, the cranberry protein bar, which actually tastes more like a regular granola bar or cereal bar. You really don't get that protein bar taste in it. So I really like these, although I would like to see other flavors. But this cranberry bar is really, really good. Dark chocolate, one of the better Ration chocolates. 60% cocoa. Spicy sauce. Got the Polder Mill Colombian coffee, and that will go into the foreign MRE mug. We have, it says disinfecting swab, but it's basically, it's just a wet wipe. Got 2 pieces of gum. And we have the spoon, which I do not use because I have my foreignmre.com spork. At least most of the time I don't use these spoons, but because it is longer, I will use it for stirring the main because the bag is pretty tall. So here is the chili stew itself. Sorry, I keep bumping the phone now. Real field meals from Dry Tech. Dry Tech is a company that produces these rations. And we have my favorite ration nuts, Nut Walker. They have the best ration nuts. Roasted and salted peanuts. The drink flavor is peach. This is Traversing Food's favorite drink flavor out of these rations. And then the last thing in here is a 1 liter Ziploc bag. You could use it to store water. You could use it to pack out trash. You could use it to keep things waterproof. You know, put extras in that you don't use if you don't want to bother with this. Of course, speaking of trash, I will be collecting the trash in this. So I put it way at the back of the table. Now I can get everything in back into view. So I'll put the plastic bag aside. Because I do keep these. I do use these for other things. I am just moving aside everything so that I can open up what I need to open up first. I have a kettle of water on the stove. And this thing, the drink powder is above the Ziploc, so I think what I'm going to do, instead of using the tear notch, which is actually below some of the drink powder, I'm going to cut this open right below the seal with a pair of scissors. And as always with these drinks, the powder is a bit clumped. As you can see right there. And it's a bit moist. It always seems to be like this with these drink powders and the Russian ones. I'm just basically trying to scrape it down without making too much of a mess so it actually gets below the Ziploc, so when I go to mix it, it's actually out of there because it is in the Ziploc itself. I am making a bit of a mess of this, so that is my one complaint about these drinks, is they need to work on improving the consistency of it to allow for better mixing. But the smell of this, I wish you could smell this. It smells really good. I'm only pouring a portion of the water in. And I'm folding the bag over a few times. See, I folded it over because I do not trust this seal to actually seal. Yep. I can feel a little bit just trying to seep out. I just poured more of the water in. But because this will not seal, I am going to prop it. I have a place where I can prop it up, and then I will add the rest of the water in a bit. Now I got that taken care of. I will open up the coffee. As I check to see who's in the chat, there's JW, there's James. So far, those are, I see 3 in here. I don't know if that third one is me or if there's someone else who just hasn't dropped a comment yet. Oops, sorry, I keep bumping this dang foam out. So this is what the coffee looks like. It's a granule. These rations do not come with creamer and sugar, so you know what I do? Add my own. Now I'm going to go ahead and open up this thing. I don't think I got low enough. I love the gusseted bottoms of these bags, but look at that. You can see the beans. Looks like black beans. And there's corn in there. It looks spicy. But just in case it's not spicy enough, so what I'm going to do now is open up this. I'll take the spoon out of the wrapper Even this isn't long enough. I mean, it just barely matches the length of the height of the bag. So what I will do is I will get the kettle of hot water so I can pour the water into here. And then I will pour the water into my mug for the coffee. And I'll be right back. I poured it off camera so that I wouldn't be giving you guys a steam bath. I will add more water because it soaks it up pretty fast. Oh, sorry. This smells like a pretty good chili. I don't see so far much of a difference between the chili con carne and this chili stew, other than the fact that there is no meat in this one. I still have some water in the kettle so that if I need to. There's Scout for Life in the house. Let's see. And Puppy Breath is in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I'm going to put this inside this Reflectix bag. And I will allow that to set for the required amount of time. I will stir the coffee. I think I'm going to add a little bit more water to the coffee because I usually fill it to more than that. Yeah, that'll do. By the way, you can get these foreign emery sporks and these foreign emery mugs off of foreignemery.com. Now I'm going to open up everything else. The Nutwalker peanuts. Ugh. I was trying to get you a nice hiss, but this thing didn't rip very well. So there are the roasted salted peanuts. I'm going to open up the cranberry protein bar. These are usually a bit sticky. Here's a close-up of it. You can actually see the cranberries in there. I will put that there. Now this chocolate bar feels like it got a little bit heat stressed because the shape feels a little bit odd. But considering that it travels across the ocean to get here. Yep, just as I thought, it has bloomed. As you can see, it's a bit misshapen. Yep, the bloom has gone all the way through, but I still think it's going to be very, very good. So that is everything opened up. Yep, there was crumbs from the chocolate bar as I opened it up, I believe. Yep. So keep the spicy sauce on standby. Now I'm going to deal with this drink. There's still some stuff in the bottom, so I'm going to take the rest of the water that's in the bottle and then shake the crap out of it. There is Hidden Numismatist in the house. And Dan has joined in. Thanks for dropping in. Yep, that pretty much got the rest of it. A few bits kind of stayed solid, but the flavor of these drinks is pretty top notch. And a few months ago, I did a comparison between this Norwegian peach drink and the Minotaur Trading Company peach. Both very good options. So I wait for the chili to constitute itself. Let's go ahead and give something a try. I'm going to take a bite of this protein bar. Curious Pete has joined in. Thanks for dropping in. Yep. This still has good flavor. I can taste the sweetness of the honey and whatever else they might have used to sweeten it, and the cranberries. Like I said, this is basically like any granola bar that you go out to a store to buy. And it's one of the best ones. So for those that have joined in late, this is Norwegian Arctic Field Ration Vegetarian Chili Stew. And I'm just using the ration bag to collect the trash. I'm going to go ahead and take a drink of my coffee. Although I like this coffee, there are better ration coffees out there. Especially the Chilean coffee, if you get a DAF ration. That Chilean coffee is just top notch. I'm going to take a handful of, it's Polder Mill. And as I said earlier, these rations don't come with creamer and sugar, so if you like that in your coffee, you better be packing your own. I love these Nutwalker peanuts. Now, peanuts in U.S. rations need to be brought up to this level. Now I'm going to take a drink of my peach. Even though they're hard to mix because of the texture of the powder that's inside the pouch, it still has very good flavor. It's hard to mix, but it's worth it. I'm going to go ahead and take a bite of this chocolate. It's very grainy. It's not smooth like a fresh bar or one that has not been heat stressed, but the flavor is still there. In fact, if I wanted to, I could probably drop a block of this into the coffee and turn it into a mocha. In fact, I'm going to do that. I want to wait a little bit more. For the main to heat up, so this might not be as good as it would be with a fresher chocolate or one that hasn't been heat stressed, but I'm still doing it anyway. There is James Ortiz in the house. Thanks for dropping in. By the way, for those who were looking for Old Smoky to stream last night, he posted that he's in the hospital, but he did pop into the Ration Museum stream today for a little bit. He's still in the hospital. So that's why he hasn't been on much. So he will need some recuperating time, and he will need thoughts and prayers and good wishes. So I would go to one of his previous streams or videos. Just drop some comments. Yep, that'll do. Yeah, drop some comments on one of his previous streams or on his post about being in the hospital, or he posted a picture of him picking off of a meal menu. Yeah, drop some comments there if you have no other way of reaching out to him. Some have his phone number so they could text. Some have his email so they could email him. You know, just show him some love. And for those that won prizes in his most recent giveaway, he will have to wait till he gets back home to ship those out. But he said in the Ration Museum stream chat that when he gets home, he will get those out to the winners of his giveaway from last week. So just wanted to give you an update. And also check out the Ration Museum stream, because those are saved on the Ration Museum YouTube channel. They go live every Sunday at 5 Eastern, 4 Central. I wouldn't know about European times. So I would say England is probably like 6 hours ahead of Eastern time. So that could be 10 p.m. Eastern or 11, depending on what part of Europe. And I have no idea what it would be for Australia time. I am going to check on this. I just put a clip on this to kind of keep this flap over. I'm going to pull this out of here, check on it, see if it needs to have more water, and just to stir it again. I want to make sure that there is nothing dry left in the bottom. So that's one thing about these gusseted bottom pouches. You can expand it at the bottom, and you just have to make sure that you get at every bit of the bottom when you're stirring it. I'm going to throw a little bit more water in since I still have my kettle here. Not a whole lot. I just licked the spoon and took a taste of that. That's actually tasting pretty good. I'm throwing that back in the Reflectix bag for a few more minutes. I'm going to check the chat. Yeah, that would be a good idea. I do have chopsticks in my gear tote in my bedroom that I've had for quite a number of years. That I had gone to some Chinese restaurants many years ago, and I was collecting the chopsticks. So I have a few of those, and I've also picked up a few at thrift stores. So I do have a few, but this spoon is getting it done, but I do not pour I took it out before I put the water in because there have been a couple that have had these spoons literally melt. In the meantime, I'm going to have a few more of these peanuts. And Jay is in the house. What you're looking at is Norwegian Arctic Field Ration, vegetarian chili stew. I do not see a menu number, but maybe, let's see. Some of these have menu numbers, some don't. I looked underneath the foreign MRE sticker, there was none. So 1,300, I'll just call it 1,300 calories. The kcal is like our calories, just stated different. And I like that these are in multi-languages, so you can see the Norwegian, the English, and this is French. So check out foreignmre.com, see if they have any of these left. They're very popular. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, oh yeah, I wasn't sure what that was, but I guess that's the menu number. I guess I'll know that for next time. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and pull it. Replace the clip where I normally keep it. By the way, these bags I've gotten from a trading company when they were used to put a glass item in. And then I got another one when I ordered a sausage off of Walmart.com. They had a halal sausage that I was interested in, and I ended up taking that to a camping trip with some other Iowa YouTubers. Yep, adding that little bit of extra water definitely has helped get it to where I want it. The few of these that I've had so far have been just absolute awesomeness. There is that chili stew. It literally fills this thing. I'm almost wondering if I should have gotten my other tray, my Tupperware tray. But so far this is handling it. I'm going to go ahead and take a taste of this, see if it needs a spicy sauce. Although I have licked a spoon. Yes, I'm a spoon licker. That textured vegetable protein does have the texture of ground meat. There's a bit of a red bell pepper in there. There's a close-up of a couple of the beans. They rehydrated very well. They still got their firm texture to them, but they don't taste like or feel like that still dry. But this is really good. As I have the spicy sauce, I would call this a mild to medium. I'm going to put some of the sauce in here. I'll put it in here because I think it'll show up better as far as the color. So this is what the spicy sauce looks like. And that is spicy. So I am putting this all in. It's kind of like a combination of a Tabasco and a Frank's, or the hot sauce that comes in U.S. rations that is in a white packet. Just putting that in the ration bag. So that's all stowed away. Started to escape. There we go. That definitely amps up the flavor. You get that cayenne pepper flavor, or a jalapeno, or whatever chiles they're using in there. Yep, it does. So that's why I added a little bit of extra water to it before I resealed it up. Plus I wanted to give it another stir anyway. But this is really, really good. So, even if you're not a vegetarian, and I am not because I like my meat, I would definitely recommend it. And of course, if you're just eating this out in the field and you had some beef jerky, you could probably break that up, put it in the bag before you pour your boiling water in there and rehydrate that meat. Or if you had some other dehydrated meat, you could put that in there. Yep, that's another reason why I wanted to add a little bit more water, because chili isn't supposed to be extremely thick. You eat it like a soup with some crackers. Speaking of which, I do have some Emery crackers. Or I have some tortillas. No, I have not been in a Burger King in quite some time. The one that I used to go to in the downtown area of Des Moines closed up. And there's another one that is on one of the bus routes that I occasionally use. But I haven't been there in years either. I hardly ever go to a fast food joint. And usually if I do, if I'm by myself, it's Tasty Tacos because it's close to my apartment. And otherwise, I may go with if I'm with other people, then we might hit up a McDonald's or a Wendy's or whatever happens to be in the area. Or we've gotten takeout food from another restaurant. Yeah, we have Aldi here in Des Moines, but I have not been in an Aldi store in years because I've been doing my grocery shopping at Walmart, and you can tell that by my grocery hauls that I've done. But I have not gone to an Aldi in quite a few years, so I know they've changed a lot. And I've watched videos of other people getting stuff from Aldi. So I might have to go there and see what things are like there. I usually go to Walmart because if I want to go into a Sam's Club, it's just right there. Yeah, pea protein is in some other products. I'm not sure if I've had anything yet that has a pea protein in it. But I'm sure it's just like any other processed food that has a vegetable or plant-based protein in it. Oh, don't worry about it, Pete. I'm glad someone is enjoying the chat. It's all good. I've never, like I said, I've never had that Impossible Burger, so I don't know what that is like. I've only tried a couple of the the plant-based burger brands that I've seen in stores like, let's see, Boca, Bocca. I've tried that one. And I've tried the other one that's similar to that. I forget the name of it right now. Oh, Morningstar Farms. Yeah, I've tried that one once. I really wasn't at that time. I really wasn't impressed with it because it fell apart. And Boca Burger just tasted weird. So I really wasn't too happy with that one either. Now, Augustin Farms makes something called a black bean burger, but it's a ground product, and when you rehydrate it, you have to form it if you want to make an actual burger out of it, I think. But it's sold in a number 10 cans, and Alaska Prepper did a video on that maybe a year or so back. And the way it's seasoned and textured, he thought it was really good, and he had no issues with rehydrating it and cooking it in the way that he did. So vegetarians would use that as an option. Hey, no problem. If you had to crash, you had to crash. If you need your rest, you need your rest. Take that. You got to put yourself first sometimes. This stuff would make a good hot dog topping if you want to make chili dogs. So you could get your meat if you put this on top of hot dogs, or if you had little smokies, you could put little smokies in this. That would definitely be something to try with this. Oh yeah, I think there might be onion powder in here. There's definitely a little bit of a garlic flavor, so I can pick that up. Well, a Dubsy probably would throw peanuts in there if he had this one. He would make that a megabyte. Yeah, this is good on the seasoning. It doesn't need salt. It's good on that because these things tend to have a lot of salt anyway. It does. It's very similar to that. It's just lacking the actual meat flavor because the TVP does not taste like meat. It has a texture of it. So you get that texture of it, but there is just, it's lacking natural meat flavor, so they make up for it with adding other seasonings. But other than that, the spice in here is really good. Adding the spicy sauce definitely brought that up. I will go ahead and throw a few peanuts in here, just for the heck of it. They do counter the spice of the hot sauce, but you do get that crunch that you get if you put crackers in there. But because they're, your peanut and not a cracker, it won't all go to mush as fast as a cracker would. Oh, that's okay, puppy breath. That's perfectly fine. There may be videos on how to do a super chat, and I've done a few myself. I've done it a couple of times on Smoky streams. I might drop $1 or $2. That's usually what I do when I drop a super chat. But it's actually not that difficult. You just have to have a payment method associated with YouTube, such as Google Pay or PayPal. But just going straight through PayPal. There's also the join button on my channel, so it's a channel membership. But that would mean you kick in something every month, but you could quit that whenever you wanted to. And of course, I also have Patreon, but I don't actively plug those. I just leave them there, so that if anyone wants to take advantage of those, they can. And if not, I'm fine with that. But I do appreciate the donation. Is there any super chats I get, the ad revenue that I get, that goes towards either buying a piece of gear that I want to test, or buying rations, or if I want to get something that will improve my video production. Now, after I had a tripod break, I bought a new heavy-duty tripod, and it's done very well. It's taken a few trips, and it has held up well. And in fact, some others who have seen it may be looking into that one and getting it themselves. I still need to get my either get my desktop computer fixed or just totally replace it, because I'm still not able to boot it up. So I do everything on my phone or on tablets. And I have a Kindle Fire that one of my sisters gave me after she upgraded to a newer one. And she gave me a wireless keyboard for it. And I may be getting a laptop that another relative will be getting rid of because he upgraded his. Or will be. So that would allow me to do stuff that I can't do on a phone or a tablet. Although laptops are harder for me to use because I can't position the screen where I want, independent of the keyboard. But it'll definitely be something better than what I'm having to deal with now. But, you know, I make it work. Yeah, it acts like Patreon. There are 3 different levels that I've set up. And there are different perks with each level. I don't even remember how I got it set up on Patreon because I haven't looked on it for quite some time. But, yeah. The perks either involve the Ranger beads that I make, and I also have homemade fire starters that I make that could be a premium or something like that I would give away. In fact, last year, for the first Country Pepper Memorial Camp, I made Ranger beads and I sold them to raise money for the family. After Jeremiah Jewell, who is known as Country Pepper on YouTube, after he died, we had fundraisers to raise money for the family to help them, settle final expenses, because he was the main breadwinner, but he was having his own health issues. So he was not earning as much money. But, yeah, we supported the family, so I was able to give her $70. I actually raised $69, but I just kicked in $1 of my own, just made an even 70. So wasn't much, but it was more than what she otherwise would have had. And I still have a ton of those Ranger beads, and I got stuff to make more. And I have stuff to make more fire starters too. I think I'm going to throw in a few more of these peanuts, just for the heck of it, after I drink a coffee. That's going to need a bit of a stir. Just stirring up the coffee a little bit. I only put one section of the chocolate bar in there, so I'm not getting a whole lot of the chocolate flavor, but I'm okay with that because it's fine the way it is. Yeah, see, the benefit of a laptop is, there are some YouTubers who may go out to a location for several days to do a lot of shooting, and they may want to actually edit some of their footage in their downtime when they're not shooting videos, but they want to get some of the editing done so that there is less to do when they get back home. Or there are some who have trail cameras and they want to pull any video footage or stills off of their trail cameras. They can transfer that from the camera memory card to the computer so that they can look at it and see what they got. Oh yeah. And speaking of chocolate, I rescued a crap ton of chocolate chips from my mosque because they weren't being used. and they otherwise would have been thrown away. So I stored them in my fridge for some time, and then after I liberated a few canning jars, I put those chips into those canning jars, and then I have had a half-gallon jar, so I put the rest of those. It was like a mixed bag of mixed flavored chips, so I just put them in there, and so I have all those in jars, and I got those in my bedroom. That way I have freed up space in my fridge. So in that drawer where I was keeping the chocolate and other chips, I got my onions in there. Yep, you can use chocolate, yeah, like butterscotch chips, white chocolate. There's some, peanut butter chips and some other ones in there. I even had some snow caps that were in some of that mix, so I just kept them in there, didn't try to pick them out. I just left them in there. Take another bite of this bar. Yep. Yeah, they're like the snow caps. But I think those nonpareils might be about the size of a lentil. But some of the chips that I had were dark chocolate. I had a bag of mint chocolate chips. I had some mini chips, or probably the size of a lentil. And just the regular dark chocolate chips. So those that were in their original bags, that's how I labeled them when I put them in the jars. And then the Ziploc bag that was just full of the mixed chips, I just labeled it as mixed chips. Oh yeah, actually had not had those for a long time, but see, when they were stored at my mosque, they were stored in the freezer. And then when I brought them home, I just kept them in the fridge until I could figure out how I was going to repack them, because I did want to repack them in a container that would be less apt to get punctured. Because those plastic bags could get poked. And I didn't want that to happen. Bottle caps is one thing. I have not had any candy that was like a bottle cap, so I'm not familiar with those. But I've been liberating things from my mosque that otherwise would have been thrown away, because we're not using the kitchen, and we don't know when we'll start doing meals there again. So last Ramadan, we did not have our nightly iftar dinners. So what we've basically been doing is, anyone who wants any of the spices and some condiments that were there. If you want to take them home, because when we start doing meals again, we're going to start with all fresh stuff. We got rid of all the pastas and the beans. I took some of the pastas myself, so I have those in a 5-gallon bucket. Oh, wow. That is something that I had never seen. Might be something interesting to look for one of these days. I don't know where I'll find something like that other than looking online. Yep, and we will have we also will have a new way to vent the hot air out of that kitchen, because I took one of my digital thermometers in there, the Ramadan of 2019, and there are several times where it got over 100 degrees Fahrenheit in there. I think the highest I'd seen was 117. And the humidity was way up. It would be like 60, 70%. And in our storage room, I put that in there because I wanted to check the humidity, and it was above 60% all the time in there. And that's too high. If you're storing dry goods, you want to keep them dry. The sugar would get hard, so I put in my homemade rice packet moisture absorbers. I did a video on how I made those. Sometimes it would get so hot in there that the vent hood fan would overheat and it would just shut down. And so now we have a small window cut in there. Eventually there's going to be an actual mini air conditioner put in there so that it can draw all that hot air and humidity out of there and bring some relief to the vent hood fan. Right now, I just go in there every once in a while to either put something away in our supply room that someone would bring in, because I have a key to that. And I would go put that away, and I just go in there to check on stuff. Since I don't work, I have the free time to go do that. Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't frequent the Walmart candy aisles much. But I might do that next time I go there, just to see if they're there. Yeah. I also brought home quite a bit of salt and sugar. So I was able to fill one of the square buckets that Aletha gave me. It's full of sugar. There's probably like 13, 14 pounds of sugar in that bucket. And I put a moisture absorber in there before slapping the lid down. And I have another bucket, a small round one that's full of salt. So there's like 4 pounds, or those bigger salt boxes that you can get from Walmart and Sam's Club. I put 4 of those in that bucket with a moisture absorber to draw out, to keep any moisture at bay. Yeah, when you're packing up salt and sugar for long-term storage, you do not want to use an oxygen absorber. If you want to keep moisture at bay, you put a moisture absorber in there. Or at least that's what I do. Oh yeah, no doubt. And usually when I'm grocery shopping, I have my priorities on, foods that I can either store for a decent period of time, or something, just kinds of things that I would like to eat all the time. For lunch I keep it simple. Usually I just make myself sandwiches, or I might I might cook up some eggs for lunch, or I might do grilled cheese, or maybe make some soup. Yeah, I just keep it simple like that. And supper is usually when I would eat some of the other stuff that, if I cooked some chicken breast, I have some chicken in my freezer. I got some fish in my freezer. Yep. Those are the meats that I have in there now, is a chicken and some salmon. And I cooked one of the pieces of salmon last week. I put some seafood rub on it, and that turned out pretty good. By the way, that fish was a gift. Someone gave it to me. Sometimes I get food gifts from people who just want to give me some. They may not know I prep, but if it's something that I can put into longer term storage, it becomes a prep item. Yep, cod is good. That piece of salmon that I cooked was a sockeye. I also have just plain salmon, some pieces of that, and then I have a marinated one. All I did was, after I put the seafood rub on that sockeye salmon, and I just put a little bit of olive oil in the pan, and just cooked it for a few minutes, skin side down, and then I flipped it after a few minutes, cooked it a little bit more. I think that's all she wrote for that. Just have another drink of the mocha. Yeah. The last time I had tilapia, I was actually in a restaurant and it was deep fried. It was at a place called Buzzer Billy's. Munch on some of these peanuts. I think it was like 2017. I went in there on my birthday. And I guess the server, I told the server that I was having my birthday meal, and I guess I got my soda for free. She knocked the price of the soda off. Some places you go in on your birthday, you tell the server about it, you might get a free shake or something. You know, last year when Aletha came to visit because she had business here in Des Moines, we went to a place called Zombie Burger, and you go in there, and it wasn't her birthday, but she and her husband were celebrating their anniversary, so the server knocked the price of her shake off the bill. He didn't order a shake, he didn't want one, but so only my shake was paid for because I ordered one. Oh yes, cornmeal makes a great fish batter or fish breading. And it's not just for fish fillets. You could do, if you deep fry shrimp, if you deep fry scallops. Or you could make hush puppies if you have the other ingredients for that. No, but what they do is they give zombie-related names to their various menu items and their drinks. And the bar section of that restaurant is called the Drink Lab. Oh, yeah. If you batter onions, you could use a cornmeal based batter instead of a flour based, or if you didn't want to do the tempura type. But it's a very funky joint to go to. Their fries are my favorite restaurant fries. I don't know what they do with them to make them so good. Yeah, they might actually have that on their drink menu, but I don't drink alcohol, so I wouldn't even know about that, and personally I wouldn't care. But it's just a fun and funky place to go, and they have a heated patio. what they did was they took these flexible panels that are part solid material, part vinyl type, clear section, and they put them around part of the patio with gaps in between to serve as ventilation, and they put these tower propane heaters in there. And even with those gaps in between those sections, you know, with the number of heaters in there and how high they got them set, it got warm in there. Ended up having to take my coat off. And we went in there on a cold day. But it's just a great place to go for people who are in the downtown section of Des Moines. Yeah, it's, yeah, they're, so far they're doing pretty well because they have been doing a good carry-out business while the big nasty's been going around. And because of their outdoor seating area and the fact that they covered part of it, when the outdoor seating was allowed, with the table spread apart sufficiently, of course, you know, people could go there and sit there and feel like that they're inside because it's warm when they got those heaters fired up. Yeah, there is one called Bebop's. Is that the one you're thinking of? Because we have a Bebop's, that's a drive-in type. I don't remember the other one, if there is one. See, that I would not know about because since I don't drive, I don't get to a lot of these places. And if it's not close to a bus stop, I just don't bother. I finished off the peanuts. Now I'm going to go back to this awesome bar. There was another one called Jack in the Box, but I don't remember if we still have that here or if that's gone, but several years ago when we were on our way out of town for a family trip, we stopped at a Bebop's. And then another time I went there with just one of my sisters when she and I had gone elsewhere in town to go do something, and we wanted lunch, so we stopped at the Bebop's. Well, a lot of people get that mixed up. It's like people mix up Arkansas and Kansas. Yeah, we don't have a Boise in Iowa. Yeah. I'm not sure what the triple D is. I don't have a TV. And although I have Hulu, I really haven't watched much of it because some of the stuff that I would want to watch, I would have to pay more for, and I really don't want to. I got it because I was hoping to watch Eating History, but I just was not able to. I'm finishing off this Bloom chocolate bar. Oh yeah, Food Network. I watched that a lot. I watched HGTV a lot. I was into that. Into that sort of thing. Because I enjoyed watching the home repair shows. The food shows, stuff like that. And of course, I got into some of the nature stuff. And I would watch the Iowa Hawkeyes playing football or basketball. And maybe an occasional baseball game. Chicago Cubs. Man, I should have taken a drink of coffee after finishing off that chocolate bar. Oh well. No, I did mispronounce Philadelphia Phillies. I said Chicago Cubs. Speaking of Chicago, when I was there for several days in 2012, I was on the L, and I did ride the red line near Wrigley Field, but I never got to take in a game because I just didn't have time. What I was doing there, I just had too much to do. I was constantly on the move. So I never had any time to take in a baseball game. Some of the chocolate didn't quite dissolve, so I'm just stirring it up in the mug. But when I was on my senior class trip back in 1984, we went to Missouri. We stayed the first night in a town called Hannibal. And there is a restaurant in that town that has a table that says Renowned Liars Table. There's a sign on there that says Renowned Liars Table. And if you're familiar with Hannibal, Missouri, that's where Mark Twain spent some time. So there's a lot of stuff there that it either has his name on it or it has some tie-in to him. And then we went to St. Louis and we took in a game there where the Cardinals were playing the Dodgers. So that was some fun, and we had pretty good seats too. Yeah, it's north of St. Louis. We had a custom bus that we took there because one of our group members used a wheelchair, so we had to get a bus that could accommodate a wheelchair. Otherwise, he would not have been able to go on the trip. And the bus company even gave us a driver. Although she was not very good. Oh, she was better than a bus driver I had for another group trip that I was on years later. And she did not want to follow our schedule. She wanted to follow her own. And so we gave that company what for about that. But the senior class trip, we went to Six Flags. And like about 4 or 5 in our group were on a ride, one of the water rides, and our guts. Their roundabout thing got stuck underneath one of the waterfalls. It got stuck on one of the rock formations, and they were sitting there an hour underneath that thing. So by the time they got out of there, they were soaked to the bones. But we had a good laugh about it. And then when we went into a cave called Mammoth Cave, one of the boys had a talking clock in his pocket, and he had the alarm set on it because it was an alarm for one of the others to take a medication, and it echoed in that cave. And our tour guide heard that and said, "Now that we know what time it is." That was pretty funny that thing echoed inside that cave. That was pretty cool how that sounded. Well, sorry you have to go elsewhere to get them because I'm not giving mine up. Well, come here to Des Moines, Iowa, and you can come to Zombie Burger. And while we're on the subject of meat, next Sunday, remember that Titan ration from Minotaur Trading Company that I got into a few weeks ago? It had the Arizona chili and the Fiesta Bowl entrees in it. I have the Arizona chili. And I have a very cool idea I'm going to do with that. I'm not going to tell you what that is. But I got a very cool idea what I'm going to do with that Arizona chili. That is a vegetarian main. I did not realize it until when I was looking at the package when I did that Arizona chili Arctic field ration that Minotaur Trading Company had. And, I thought it had beef in it, but it was actually vegetarian, so I think you'll like what I'm going to try with it. It should be very interesting. Oh. It's a chili type thing, similar to this chili stew, but with a few different ingredients in it. And I do have tortillas. I have a few packs of the Amory tortillas that I could add to it. In fact, I think I have a pack of those in that Titan ration bag. I could attempt a burrito. Or just do like an open taco type thing, who knows what I'll do. But I think you'll like what I got in mind. Well, so much for that peach drink, it's gone. Yeah, I finished everything. Only thing left would be the gum, but I'm not much of a gum chewer, but I do save those. Those are part of my emergency supplies. So I keep some in my get-home bag. I keep some in my bug-out bag. So since I'm done with my dinner, I think I'm going to go ahead and call this one done. Been here, not too much shy of 2 hours, but I want to go ahead and get this cleaned up. So I can just enjoy the rest of my evening. Go back to watching other YouTube videos. So I do want to thank you all for coming. And do come back next week. And again, remember, Ration Museum stream every Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern. There is some exciting stuff that is coming up. Some projects that Sean has got going on that he's starting. He did a little experimentation today with what he's doing with some of the items in the collection. So do check that out. And if you missed the Ration Museum stream today, you can go back and watch that and listen to the updates that he was able to get some things taken care of as far as the background operation that he's trying to set up. And plus there will be ways that you can actually support the Ration Museum. He's working on getting those set up. And he has accepted some item donations, which I sent him that 1987 German emergency ration box. Well, both of them, because I had two of them. I opened one. I made up one of the teas. I opened up the foil backpack that contained the food bars, but I did not open those. I just showed what they look like in their inner wrappers. And then I resealed it, and I sent them both so that he could have an example of a sealed one and an open one so that he could display the contents. And I even sent back the empty tea packet just so that he could have both of them there. And by the way, that tea from that German ration was really, really good. And other people have sent donations, and he buys stuff for the collection. He does trades for items. And he even has space food items in the collection. Rations from Gemini missions to the space shuttle missions and the space station. So he has samples of those foods that have either gone up into space, just didn't get eaten, or they're prepared but just didn't go up. But do check out the Ration Museum. I think you'll really get intrigued by what he's got going on, and he's started doing it all by himself. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call this one done. I want to thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for next week when I will have a little fun with the rest of that Titan ration. Catch you on the flip side.